Hey guys, and welcome back to Divine Journey 2. So last episode we continued our automation setups over here. We also added more automations for things like GP powder and RF powder, as well as some more setups in this corridor. And we got our nether farm up and running for blaze rods. And last episode I mentioned that I wanted to set up ore processing, and I think this is what we're going to start with today. No more distractions. The problem is, we need diamonds, primarily for pulsating crystals, as these are used in grains of pizzality, which is used in the dye blend, and we use these to make all of our chassis. We also need it for pink slime, which is used for brown slime, and that is also used in the chassis. And obviously, we need machines to do ore processing, right? So, so in the meantime, let's make a start on all the other things we need for our Dimensional Transiever. The first thing we need is a witch. Hello. You missed. You missed again. Okay, that's enough. Man, how long am I poisoned for? 30 seconds? That's just evil. Well, witch, you're going to go into an ender resonator. Hold on, before I forget, we need 2 of every material for this, don't we? Yeah, we need 2 dimensional transceivers. In that case, we need another one. No poison this time. The next thing we need is weather crystals, which take some enderman soul vials. There's one. We take you, and you, and you. The next thing we need is 2 melodic capacitors. So the melodic alloy we already create, however we do need crystalline capacitors, which take crystalline alloy. And this is more grains of pizzality, which is more diamonds. Vivid alloy we're creating, and elevatium. We need quite a bit of this elevatium actually. And we made a start on automating this last episode. So most of these resources we actually do have fully automated already. And we will continue to automate the rest, but I think ore processing is a big priority right now. So I'm going to use the resources we have and batchcraft enough of this elevatium. I should also mention here that I just updated the pack. It was updated 43 minutes ago. But yeah, check this out. The ME interface only takes the industrial machine chassis now. Oh man, I wish we had this yesterday. In the previous version, it used to take the RF tools machine frame, which is quite a bit harder to craft. It actually takes an enhanced machine chassis for one of these things, and some brown slime and dark metal. So that is huge on its own. Another awesome change is that Osgo Lapis now gives you 2 for every 1 input item. And this is amazing. Although I did just batchcraft this yesterday. Oh well. Alright, so I've spent about an hour crafting this stuff, and we now have our 2 dimensional transceivers. I also crafted up some more machines that I think we're going to need, along with some more conduits, some interfaces, and a power cell to supply power. Although I could see this potentially being an issue for us today. We'll see. So now that we have some item transport, we need somewhere to put this thing. And I was thinking that we put our ore processing right around here, but obviously we can't stick it on the grass, so let me build out a little area here. So I've been doing some building, and I decided to raise it up off this factory floor, just to have a bit of variation. And this room is also going to connect through somehow down over here, where we have the exit of our empowder setups. So the plan is we're going to have a drawer wall here for the ores. This is where we're going to import from the builder. So then we'll place our machines around here, and then have another drawer wall for the output of all of the ore processing. So the first step is we're going to want to move all of these drawers over, and reconfigure this builder. So instead of the chest, we're going to replace this with the transceiver. We want this to pull items from the bottom. I don't actually know if this matters since the builder pushes items in here. But then on the item channel, we can name this. We'll just call it builder output. Add the channel and make this a send channel. Alright, so that also means that we can get rid of this and our drawer controller and now all of these drawers. Alright, so we just barely managed to fit all the drawers in this little space we have. There is 2 or 3 more items that I added on the back here. Things like poppies, I have no idea where this comes from the builder, but somehow we're mining this thing up from the deep dark. Same with mossy cobble, mushrooms, and we're getting a tiny little bit of stone, even though it's on the blacklist on the builder. So we're just going to add void upgrades onto this. Alright, so now I think we'll place our drawer controller right here, and we can put the dimensional transceiver just behind this. And then select the channel to receive here. Actually, instead of going straight into the drawer controller, I'm going to do it into a buffer chest, I think. We'll do something like this, and then we'll have an item conduit to export from the chest into the drawer controller. Alright, so now we have to start processing all this stuff, and it's not going to be as easy as just hooking up all of this to pulverizers, and there's actually multiple ways that we can process this ore. I was maybe thinking about getting into mechanisms ore processing, and we will have to do this in the future, as we need things like iron crystals, I think for some of the magic stuff. Yeah, it's used in the alchemy table, but I think we'll address this later on. So with the pulverizer, we do also get a small chance output that we can increase with one of the augments on this thing. However, we don't just want to put everything through the pulverizer here. Of course, we have these Thermcraft crystals, which are just probably going to stay in these drawers. But things like redstone, for example, if we pulverize this, we get 6 and a chance at some cinnabar. However, we can put it through the enrichment chamber for 12 redstone. However, I do think that we want the cinnabar, since cinnabar is used in the creation of platinum with nickel. And it's also a similar situation with quartz ore. We can pulverize this for 3 and some sulfur. However, the enrichment chamber does give us 6. So I think in this case, the enrichment chamber is going to be more worth for quartz. So I'm going to go through each of these ores and decide the best way to process this. So I believe I now have everything filtered here from our drawers. And the way I've done this is I just went through these one by one. And then I have filters on some crates underneath these machines. So this first layer here is for pulverizers. The next one is Enriching Factory, which I just took from over there actually. But eventually we can add more machines to this. I've left some space so that we can stack them vertically. And the last machine here is the sag mill. But as you can see, the filter on the insert of the pulverizers is the largest one by far. Some of these things isn't the most efficient way to process through pulverizing. For example, black quartz, we can actually get more if we sag mill it, but the plan for the sag mill is to keep it saturated with grinding balls so that we can get the extra chance output from this. So here, of course, we're doing stuff like diamond and draconium, as well as lapis, redstone, and yellowite. As with the yellowite ore, we actually get a chance at cyanite if we sag mill it, and I think this is the only way to get cyanite through this yellowite ore. And then for the enrichment chamber, I have quartz, charged certus, and certus. And these 3 are the most efficient through the enriching factory. And then I've also included a blacklist on the extract of this drawer controller. This is for all the things we don't want to send through our ore processing. So the amber bearing stone, I'm actually not sure about, so I've just left it in the blacklist. Same with the cinnabar and the destabilized redstone. I think 3 of these are going to require special processing. Of course, clay we don't want to touch. This is going to be used in crafting. And then all of the V crystals will be used in Thermcraft later on. And also nickel will be a special case that we'll get back to. So these are all on blacklist on the extract of this. And then the last 4 set of machines here are smelting factories to smelt all of the dust that's going to come out of most of these machines. So now we have to hook up some power. So we've got a power cell into an energy buffer. Then we're just going to run some conduit along to all of our machines. Alright, so these should all be receiving power now. And now I'll have to swap the filter to the underside here. It was just so that it was easier to access when I was filtering them all. So we're going to insert everything on brown channel. And we'll also want to make sure round robin is enabled on the extract of the drawer controller. And I think it's also about time that we made a conduit probe. This is going to make configuration a lot easier with Ender IO. Alright, so we have the extract on the drawer controller. We just have to insert into all of our machines. And we can copy the conduit settings, paste them to everything. And what we'll actually do here is add another buffer crate, just a small buffer on the output of all of these machines. So this side is for the input, it's actually already filling up with some ores from our drawers. And then this side is going to be the output. So we've got the insert on brown and extract on blue. So this one has to be insert blue, and this one will be extract brown, with round robin enabled. Alright, so we are processing. Unfortunately, it did pick Arlamite as the first ore, which isn't too useful for us at the moment. And also these sag mills and enriching factories are not getting any items, which means I think we need some extract speeds on this thing. So by putting some extraction speed upgrades in here, that should keep all of the inserts on the machines saturated here. So we're getting all of our ores for the pulverizers here. Yeah, now it's starting to fill with quartz. And this one should be getting some lapis and redstone and so on. We may have to add a second extract from this drawer controller, but our machines are currently still quite slow and they could do with some upgrades. So now most of the outputs of these crates from the first set of machines we're going to want to smelt, which is what these smelting factories are for. But of course there is a few things like nether quartz, for example, where we just want to send straight to storage and bypass the smelting step. And I think everything from the pulverizers we're going to want to smelt, right? Actually no, there's things like black quartz and dark ore that's going to give us gems, which we will just want to send to storage. So in that case, let's set up our ingot storage on the other side of this room, and then we can start filtering the outputs of the first set of machines here. Yeah, maybe something like this. So we have like almost a mirrored design on the other side. This is going to be all of our ingots and dusts that we want to store, and we'll just fill this in with some drawers. Alright, so now we need to filter everything. We're going to add another 2 crates on the input and output of these smelting factories. And then we'll extend our item conduits along, and also hook up these output crates. Actually, we don't have to connect here. Yeah, let's keep the conduit networks separate. So this is just going to be the outline of the first step, which will go into this crate and also bypass straight to storage, where we'll have a drawer controller over there. Oh, we definitely need some muffling upgrades here. These things are so loud. And actually, I don't know if there's any way to mute the pulverizers. Maybe with a sound muffler though. But I also had to change the configuration on these smelters, since we can only input and output from separate sides. So this also allows us to keep the conduit network separate as well. All of these 5 conduits you can see here, we take input from the side of the machines and output from the back. Alright, so we may have a small issue here. I was hooking everything up over our ore processing over there, and everything just stopped, and we are out of biodiesel. And I think that's because these machines upstairs are not getting any power. We almost run into this last episode, but it's very obvious now that we're definitely not producing enough power to run all of the machines we're running now. So I think we're going to have to cold start this. Luckily I do have this ultimate energy cube that I was using over at the ore processing. So we're going to hook this up to our diesel setup here, just to try and get the farming stations going upstairs. And we've even run out of seeds as well. This is industrial hemp, which luckily we are buffering, but we are not sending into the squeezer. I think we're only using the aubergine, which we're actually not growing anymore, and the canola seeds. It looks like we're running here. It may take a while for buffers to start filling up again. Alright, I think we're back in business here. The buffers have still not filled up, but I've dedicated one of these diesel... Hold on, let me move away a little bit. And I've also dedicated one of these just to run in the farms upstairs, just so that we can keep sustainable power. This should be enough for machines to keep trickling along, but we're definitely going to have to address this episode. Alright, so I've been doing a bit more filtering on the ore processing system. I think I've got just about everything filtered that I can. But we do have an absolutely huge backlog of ores to go through. I mean, there's 177 stacks of iron here alone. We have 114 stacks of copper ore. Similar thing with tin, we have 93 stacks of this stuff. So these machines are going to be backed up for a while. And I'll keep coming back to this just to check that these crates aren't stuck. This could do with some extract speed upgrades actually. But all of these are already filtered in the drawer. So actually I should mention, the way I'm doing the extract from the smelters is we're just going into the crate, and then this is extracted on purple, which is the insert on the drawer controller here. However, all of these crates from the second step are also extract on purple, except this crate here is on a higher priority with these dusts that have to be smelted. So that way things like pulverized gold and iron end up in the smelters, and then everything else ends up in the drawer there. So now that we've got the basis for our ore processing, there's a couple of upgrades I would like to make to this. I did already add speed and energy upgrades to our smelters, so these are more than enough to keep up with the pulverizers we have. But these sag mills here don't currently have any grinding balls in, so let's do something about that. Oh, and I also forgot about these drawers that are in front of our controllers here. These were from the excavator, so there's another 176 stacks of iron, another 70 stacks of gold. Oh man, we have so much ore. Just still no diamonds though. Alright, so I was having a look at some of the grinding ball options that we have for our sag mill. So the way the grinding balls work is we have 3 different stats. We have the main output, the bonus output, and extra power consumption. Some of these more expensive ones give very, very good output chances. However, I think we're going to go for electrical steel, and the reason for that is we want less power usage, and it also gives a reasonable amount of chance output, while being very cheap. I mean, electrical steel is just silicon, which is basically free for us. We're making this passively. And the steel is just some iron, but as you saw, we have a lot of iron. And it also does take some coal, but we do have coal. Yeah, there's 318 stacks here, and I'm sure there's actually some over next to our controller as well. So to be able to automatically supply this, we need to hook up a applied energistics connection. So we do have one of the main lines coming through this corridor. I think it should be right about here. Yeah, this is a main line right here, so I think we'll extend this along. And then I think we'll have it come along this wall, somewhere right about around here, and then up to all of our setups up there. Since I think this space underneath, we're going to have some more automations under here. And we may even dig down a little. But this wall we can keep a couple of blocks free just for some wiring and things. And we'll also put down the P2P connection just where it turns here. And we'll find a free space on our controller and link the channels. And one of the first things we can hook up here is actually the drawer for the ores. We're just going to storage bus this with high priority. And I guess we can also plug in our new ingot wall drawer here. And just to keep things nice and tidy, I'm going to use some ME conduit just so that we can share the block space. There we go, that should be all connected up now. So to handle the grinding balls, what we're going to do is place a ME interface here. Here we're going to ask for electrical steel. And then opposite that, we're going to have a formulaic assemblicator. And then the insert for the assemblicator, we're going to filter in electrical steel. Actually, we'll do a limited item filter here on the insert. And then I've plugged in the interface, we can set our pattern here. And just because the buffer on this assemblicator is so large here, we have 6 stacks of grinding balls. I really don't want to make 6 stacks of electrical steel grinding balls. We're going to use a level emitter here. And just to keep things a bit neater, we're going to level emit the extract on the conduit here. So we want this extract without a signal. And then we'll set the level emitter to grinding balls, and we'll actually only set this to 1. Then we'll need to set the output of the formulaic assemblicator underneath. It has to be a different side, of course. So then we're going to output this on, I don't know, any free channel. We'll do it on red. And then we'll insert this back into the interface. Just so that we're able to read with the level emitter so that it does enter our system. And then from here we can ask for grinding balls from the interface. And then we'll insert into the side of these sag mills. And I think these sag mills are smart enough to just put the grinding balls in the correct slot. Then we just have to set the assemblicator to auto mode. This will auto craft the grinding balls, put them into the interface, and then get distributed into the sag mills. So I think now we can turn these back on. Alright, cool. These do last quite a while, so we shouldn't burn through that much electrical steel with this. But again, it is a bit more efficient to do with the grinding balls than without, especially for things like diamonds. Also, it looks like this dimensional transceiver requires power to be able to send items, even if you're not transporting power with it. And we will remove this power cell at some point, once we address our power though. But yeah, this builder still has to stay off at the moment. Alright, so to address the power situation, there's a couple of options that we have here. And at some point soon, we're going to have to set up the rainbow generator, which I'm really looking forward to. I love setting up this thing. And some of them are easy, right? Like the survival generator, we just have to burn coal in this thing. But to be able to get the rainbow generator to run, we have to have all of the other generators running at the same time. And some of these things require some bizarre items, like the pink generator. This thing can only burn pink items. So that's going to be a very fun automation challenge to take on here. And we will get to that soon, but we need some immediate power. And back in chapter 11 here, we have access now to solar panels. I'm curious what the generation on these things are. 1 RF a tick. Alright. The tier 2 will only generate us 8 RF a tick, which isn't much better. Then 32, 128. Does it just keep doubling? Yeah, so we're going to have to get up to at least the solar panel 5s at 512 RF a tick. But honestly, I was expecting to get a bit more out of these things. Unfortunately, to make the higher tier, we need mana steel. And we don't have access to Britannia yet. So I know it's a bit of a boring option, but I think our best choice here is just to add another squeezer, fermenter, refinery, and another 2 diesel generators, assuming we can afford it. And also we set up the extra farming capabilities to do this, so this has kind of been a long time coming. And one thing we're going to need plenty of here is coke dust. Luckily though, we do have a lot of coal coke that I've periodically been putting in our coke ovens back there. And we haven't had to use it in quite a while, so we should have enough coke dust for this. So it also turns out that we've actually run out of iron ingots, and that is a big problem when we're dealing with immersive engineering. But for the time being, I'm just throwing the iron in the enrichment factory just to try and speed it up. And I've also locked the pulverizers onto iron, but hopefully that should give us enough at least to craft some of these machines. Well, we managed to get enough for the refinery. Not much use on its own. Let's see if we can get the rest of the multi-blocks. And we can also make our squeezer. And also the fermenter. And I know what you're thinking. This is a terrible place to put this, and yes, you're right. I think what I'm going to do between episodes is move this drawer wall out of the way. The reason we put it here in the first place is because we couldn't afford the item conduits. But now that we have the painting machine and the item conduits, I'm going to rework this in between episodes here. Oh man, is there really not a faster way to make wires in this pack? I don't actually think there is, unless we do this recipe here. We may be doing this late game. Although actually, how much use is there for wires late game? I'm not sure we'll need thousands, but if we do, then it's definitely something we'll want to passively do. But we almost have enough for our 2 diesel generators here. I'm just trying to make the generator blocks. And these blocks take a lot of copper wire. Oh, and we also need some more of this forged syncinacite. I remember seeing this actually in the nether. Aha, here we go. This is what we're after. The stairs are probably the most useful things here. All of these pillars are quite useless. But we'll take all the stairs as these can be crafted straight into the blocks we need. Yeah, there's over a stack. It's much easier than using this lava bucket recipe. Alright, just want to make sure here we're not on chunk boundaries here, but it doesn't look like we are. I managed to get enough for 1 of the diesel generators. We just need another 3 of these generator blocks, which means some more copper wire. Alright, there's 1 built. And diesel gen number 4, maybe. There we go. I was missing a few blocks on the inside. Oh, and it looks like you can actually flip them. I remember one of you guys commenting about that. I wasn't sure what you meant at the time. Well, that's a weird glitch. But yeah, it looks like we can put the redstone on the opposite side of these machines. So we'll hook up 2 of our receivers for the redstone control. And we can also hook up our biodiesel inputs. This time I will use conduits though, since we can afford them. And here we can swap this flux cable out with a conduit. And we should just have to hook up the inputs here for the fermenter. So the fermenter is going to take canola. And the squeezer is going to take the canola seeds. And then we can hook these up with some power. And just hook up the relay, I think, to this relay. That's not going to reach, is it? Alright, so we're all plugged in and we're making more biodiesel now. So I believe this setup with the farming station should be able to keep up with the extra canola. So long as we're giving it power, of course. So now with these 4 diesel generators, we're going to be producing 16,000 RF a tick. I think they're 496 each. So we're just going to hook up our capacitors, same as we done with the other one. And here I guess we will use a separate frequency for these two generators here. So we're going to put comparator into the transmitter. And here we'll just use frequency 2. And potentiometer has to be set to 14, I think that I had the other one at. So now we just have to set our conduits on the insert on the biodiesel. And we're making a loud noise. Very loud noise. Alright, so yeah, that is our power situation buffed for the time being, but again, we will be addressing it soon with the rainbow generator. And a couple of hours from now, after I finish up this episode, I'm going to move the storage drawer wall, and I'll also take some time and hide all the conduits, I think. And yeah, this thing is just to get this up and running. Of course, this will be moved. But yeah, the ore processing is still extremely backed up, and I expect it to be like that for probably a few episodes even. We are already up to 19 stacks of tin ingots here, and 32 stacks of iron. In fact, this drawer needs an upgrade. But with that, I think this is a good point to wrap up the episode. Bit of a shorter one today, but we're going to be back tomorrow for some more automations. Now that our power is fixed and we're getting passive ingots, I think next episode we'll look into automating the empowerer here, and also get into some applied energistics auto crafting. And that is going to be really nice. It's going to stop all the handcrafting I've been doing here. But yeah, with that, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for some more Divine Journey 2.